Hello, and welcome to English Tailies. Today, I want to share a story that's very close to my heart, a story about finding light in the deepest darkness. I hope it brings you comfort and inspires you to believe in the dawn that always follows the night. Life can sometimes feel like a long, dark tunnel. You keep walking, but you can't see the end. It's filled with challenges, with uncertainties, and with moments that test your very soul. But I'm here to tell you that even in the darkest, most overwhelming moments, there is a spark of hope waiting to be found. This is the story of how I learned to turn my darkest days into my greatest source of light, and how you can do the same. If you're going through a tough time right now, if you feel lost or alone, please listen closely. This story is for you. It's a reminder to find your inner light and to never stop believing in a brighter future. Hi, I'm Sarah. And a few years ago, my life felt like it had completely fallen apart. It was a period where everything I thought was stable, everything I relied on, just crumbled away. I lost a job that I had poured my heart into. It wasn't just a source of income, it was part of my identity. And just as that professional anchor was gone, my personal life began to unravel too. A relationship I cherished was ending, and the sense of loss was suffocating. I felt utterly alone, adrift in an ocean of sadness and fear. Every single day was a battle. Waking up felt like a chore, and the world outside my window seemed gray and colorless. It felt like I was walking through a thick perpetual fog with no direction, no map, and no idea if I would ever find my way out. The darkness wasn't just around me. It was inside me, a heavy weight on my chest. One night I hit a real low point. The silence in my room was deafening, amplifying all the anxious thoughts swirling in my head. I sat by the window just staring out, not really seeing anything, but then my eyes adjusted to the pitch-black sky. And I saw them, the stars. They were scattered across the vast emptiness, each one a tiny, brilliant point of light. They were shining so brightly, so defiantly, against the infinite darkness surrounding them. And in that simple, quiet moment, something shifted inside me. A profound thought struck me with the force of a revelation. Even in the deepest, most absolute darkness, light exists. It's always there. I realized right then that I had a choice. It was a choice I hadn't seen before. I could continue to drown in the darkness, to let it consume me. Or I could start searching for the light, no matter how small or distant it seemed. That realization was the first step, the first crack of light in my personal darkness. I decided to actively seek it. I knew I couldn't change everything overnight, so I started small with something I could control. I began a daily gratitude practice. Every evening, before bed, I would get a simple notebook and write down 3 things I was thankful for. At first, it felt forced. Some days, all I could muster was a warm cup of tea or the roof over my head, but I kept at it, and slowly, this simple act started to retrain my brain. It forced me to look for the good, to acknowledge the small pockets of warmth and comfort in my day. It was like tuning a radio, slowly filtering out the static of my anxiety and tuning into a clearer, more positive frequency. This small ritual became my anchor. It was proof that even on my worst days, there was still something to be grateful for. Next, I started setting tiny, achievable goals for myself. The idea of rebuilding my entire life felt impossible, so I broke it down into the smallest possible steps. One day, the goal was just to take a shower and get dressed. The next, it was to take a 10-minute walk outside. Then, it was to update one section of my resume. Each time I accomplished one of these mini goals, I felt a tiny surge of confidence, a flicker of my old self returning. These weren't grand achievements, but they were wins. They were my wins, and they started to stack up. At the same time, I made a conscious effort to surround myself with positivity. I reached out to that one friend who always knew how to make me laugh. I started listening to uplifting podcasts during my walks instead of replaying negative thoughts in my head. I began curating my environment, both physically and mentally, to be a space of healing, not despair. As my confidence grew, I felt a pull to connect with something larger than myself. I decided to start volunteering at a local animal shelter. Being around the animals, giving them care and affection, and seeing their unconditional love in return was incredibly therapeutic. It got me out of my own head. When I was focused on helping another creature, my own problems seemed to shrink in perspective. I also started making a conscious effort to perform small acts of kindness for others. Holding a door open for someone, giving a genuine compliment to a stranger, or buying a coffee for the person behind me in line. Each small act felt like lighting another candle in my dark room. I found that the more light I tried to give to others, the more it illuminated my own path. The joy I found wasn't in grand gestures, but in these simple, everyday pleasures and connections. With every day of gratitude, every small goal achieved, and every act of kindness, the darkness began to recede. It didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, like the slow rising sun chasing away the shadows of the night. The heavy fog of sadness started to lift, and in its place I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. A genuine, resilient hope. Strength began to build in places where I thought I was broken. I learned one of the most valuable lessons of my life during that time. The power to find light is always within us, even in our toughest, most trying moments. It all begins with a single, crucial step: a choice. The choice to believe in better days ahead. The choice to look for the stars in the dark sky. Today, when I look back on that period of my life, I don't see it with resentment or pain. I see it with gratitude. I am truly grateful for my struggles because they were the crucible that forged my resilience. They taught me that darkness is never permanent. They taught me that our lowest points can become the foundation for our greatest strengths. They taught me that hope isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, you nurture, and you hold on to with all your might. It's a flame that can shine through any storm, as long as you protect it. So, I want to leave you with this. No matter how dark your night feels right now, no matter how lost or alone you may be, please remember this. The dawn is always coming. It's a law of nature. It has to. Keep your faith, even if it's just a tiny flicker. Actively seek the light within you and around you. Start with one small thing. One grateful thought, one tiny goal, one act of kindness. Because hope will always, always follow. If this story touched your heart and gave you a little bit of light today, please consider subscribing to English Tailies. We share inspiring stories just like this one, to remind you of the incredible power of hope, resilience, and the human spirit. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next story. Thank you for listening. Hold on and keep seeking the light.